And now let's welcome our next guest and a good friend of yours truly, Greg Melia, CEO of Melia Advisory Group in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Greg, thanks so much for being back on the show.
You're welcome, Dave. Good seeing you again.
Well, good here, same here. And we have limited time, so let's get right to it. The 800-pound gorilla in the room, recession. Are we going to have a recession in the next 12 months or not? Your thoughts?
Strong likelihood. Of course, nobody's got a crystal ball. I think that with the trade war that's heating up, actually, there's a few signs recently that maybe it's abating some. China's kind of convalesced recently, but I think the trade war and the uncertainty there is also one of the biggest causes. We're watching China's growth slow down. The United States growth is also slowing down.
Yep.
The whole world looks like the economy's slowing down.
So as a fellow income guy, somebody I know watches the yield curve, how much of that concern comes from the inversion we saw in the yield curve through much of August and the beginning of September?
Well, I think for most it's more about being the signal that has always proven, has always happened right before recession, and it's been very consistent. So I think it makes a lot of people nervous because it's like, looking at the weather, right? You see a cloud, it's getting ready to rain. Mm-hmm. And so that's another indicator that, at least the risk factors are increasing.
Mm-hmm. You heard Peter Marisi a minute ago tell us that, 4 months ago when he and I spoke, he thought that consumer demand would actually be able to support our U.S. economy. But now with things cooling off in parts of Europe, although consumer demand is still strong, he thinks that it's not enough. Do you feel that way? Do you think if consumer demand continues to be strong, it'll be enough to support the economy or still not?
I think the consumer demand's also going to shrink too from here. I still think we're facing a structural problem we've been facing for some years, and that's 10,000 baby boomers being pulled out of the workforce every day. It's an incredible dynamic. It's a structural problem, not a cyclical problem. And I think they keep addressing it as a structural versus a cyclical versus a structural.
It's a secular demographic trend, and you're right, it's something we're to be stuck with for a long time. But now in addition to that, what we've seen over the last few weeks is much more negative sentiment in corporate America. Companies aren't investing the way they used to in capital goods. They're more reluctant, even though interest rates for them on the long-term side have come back down. So what has to happen to get corporate America confident again? Can the Fed do anything to get their confidence back up?
Well, it's kind of ironic in the fact that what's leading to some of the erosion is the fact that it's been up for so long that everybody knows it has to drop at some point. So it kind of works against itself, the success we've had. I think that's also fighting the trend as well. So, we're doing with that as well.
So 30 seconds left. Tell us, what do you think about the whipsaw change the Federal Reserve made from wanting to have 4 interest rate increases in 2019 to now having 1 decrease already and maybe 1 or 2 more on the horizon? How much did that contribute to this concern about recession?
Yeah, I definitely think, if anything, just the fear of it happening. We talked, sometime about that they were raising rates so they could drop them again when the recession comes. When the recession finally comes, we know that's coming. Kind of trying to add bullets to the arsenal before it occurs. So in fact, they kind of caused what happened. Since people argue that they initiated this. So
yep.
In the end, who really knows for sure? Except you bring in the fear, right? And when they raise rates, you watch the stock market respond because the fear increases. Well, that's a byproduct, that has an effect.
It used to be dropping interest rates was good for the stock market. Now not so much anymore because of people realizing what it means. So we need to leave it there for now. Greg, thanks so much for being back with us on the show. We appreciate it. And you stay with us too. We have more here on the Income Generation coming up in just a moment.